As far as I can read, the name of the first band that you were in was called SF Bloodshy.
It's so funny. I thank God I had this like sort of round table thread with a bunch of musicians
Yeah.
and a wrestler, famous wrestler friend of ours, Chris Jericho, and the guys from New Jersey, a band called Trickster, and a couple other musicians as well. But Joey Casada, of this great drummer and author and everything. But anyway, we get together and we just talk. We've been talking. Thank God for these guys because of the COVID situation. I used to have a lot of traffic in the house and nobody comes over.
Yeah.
And these guys have been my godsend. I mean, they talk about Kiss and sex and, and great stuff. But like just the other day, sorry, I'm going round and round, just trying to wake up here. But the other day, everybody was talking about their first band names. And yeah, I mentioned, like I had this band Bloodshy.
Yeah.
And we were from Sacramento. And back in the 70s, it was cool to put like the name of a bigger city abbreviated right before the name.
Right.
Like UK subs,
Yep.
SF Bloodshy. San Francisco was really close to Sacramento, so that was kind of hip. And then everybody else was coming up with band names like Legacy and Star Child. I don't remember, but I thought SF Bloodshy was pretty cool. The band that I had after that, SF Bloodshy, which was kind of a high school band. Most of the musicians were from my high school in Sacramento. But I joined a heavy metal band after that. Really, really heavy metal. All we did was just practice. I think we played one show, which was just so lame, but they were called Fire Beast. I don't know, I think you have that written down.
No.
Fire Beast. Great. And I won the band name contest in our round table. So
yeah.
Yeah, Bloodshy was, like I said, like all Sacramento high school musician friends. Nobody. One guy, this guy Rick Smith, was my kind of bestie in high school, and he lives in San Francisco. He's married with kids and everything, but he's been recording for years. He pumps out all kinds of stuff. I think he's a teacher in San Francisco, and he's the only other guy. I forgot that he was in Bloodshy. I thought I was the only one that made it. Anyway, yeah. And then Fire Beast, they were just a couple brothers, and like after Fire Beast, I joined another kind of good friends band. It was the Jeff Watson band. Jeff Watson was in Night Ranger.
Yeah.
But at the time, he just worked at a little music store called Sunrise Music in Sacramento, and I used to go over there. Anyway, him and I, so we were in this band together. And another thing, they just wanted to practice for years and play one or two frat parties, and I just couldn't do that. I needed to get to the big city. So after trials and tribulations, and just kissed my mother goodbye, and I went to San Francisco, and I joined another band called Kid Courage. I have that written down. That was a cool name.
Yeah.
Established San Francisco rock and roll band, and maybe 1976 or 77, I think I joined. And long time ago. I was just thinking about that the other day, that man, I had like a couple dishwashing busboy jobs. I slept on the couch in this band house on 10th and Clement Street in San Francisco. They all did other jobs and they had left the house, but man, I was living on that couch for so long, but playing great rock and roll at night. and we opened to AC/DC.
Yep.
One of their first trips to San Francisco. I think maybe it might have been their second tour. I was at a place called the Old Waldorf, which right now is it's a comedy club called Punchline, downtown San Francisco on Battery Street. And the Punchline itself was actually the dressing room of the concert hall. I think it held maybe 600 to 800 people. I thought acoustic sounded great in there and everything, but we were so lucky because this band that I was in, which was such a weird band, it was kind of the cross between the Rolling Stones and the Tubes, way before your time, but like kind of keyboardy synthesizer stuff, but kind of Rolling Stones music. Strange as it seems, but it was kind of a unique sound. And yeah, we played with Neil Young, like anybody and everybody, and a lot of international acts that come through town, but like Neil Young, Blondie, a band called Brand X, which I think Phil Collins was in, Iggy Pop, David Bowie was there. God, who else? Well, AC/DC. So
yeah,
it was my kind of claim to fame at the time. That dressing room, Punchline Comedy Club, whatever that was, the dressing room, I remember, was just this huge dressing room with no walls or anything like that, and a pool table right in the middle. And all the guys from AC/DC and Kid Courage, basically backpacks, suitcases, drumsticks, clothes bags. Everybody's just dressing and getting their shit together for the show in this sort of communal area.
Mm-hmm.
And we played 2 nights with them. So, and I never heard of AC/DC before. When I first, when I was listening to their sound check, and they sound kind of punk rock actually, and it sounded very punk rock. And I might have listened to something on the radio, if they were playing on the radio. I don't remember. And I kind of like. I kept looking at this one guy that's sitting in the corner, and he's putting on this little schoolboy outfit, and I remember just giggling, just going, "What the fuck is that about?" and the guys in my band, they were like, "Wow, this is so weird," And we were so excited because it was a band from Australia, but I didn't care that they were. I mean, I did care how great they were. I didn't realize how super popular they were getting.
Right.
Bumpkin, total bumpkin here. And the pool table right in the middle. So I'm playing pool because these guys are, we had just finished our sound check. They're getting ready to go out. I mean, not go out. They're just getting ready. And I don't know, somehow it was where I was playing pool in the middle of the dressing room. And Bon Scott comes over. And he's a skinny guy, and I couldn't understand it. He's like, "Oh, I and an Australian accent I couldn't figure out. I never met anybody from Australia. They could have been from Mars,
Right.
And I'm playing pool with this guy, and he's playing pool. He said, "Do you mind if I, hit a couple rounds with you too?" And so I'm just playing pool with Bon Scott, and I didn't think nothing of it. Anyway, we play the show. We have a good reception. They come out and play the show, and it's like, Problem Child, Long Way to the Top. I mean, they played all these things, and they were awesome. They were truly beholden.
Right.
Great. And the next day I went to Rasputin's Records, which is kind of a famous rare record store. They sell all kinds of records, but bootlegs and records that you can't get in America yet, And that first AC/DC album, or the one that I picked up, was the one with like them on it and the lightning bolt, and that was the Problem Child record. What was that called? I'm so stupid. I'm going to get bitch slapped by my round table friends. Anyway, I picked it up, listened to it, kind of talk to people about AC/DC and how they're going to be the best, this biggest band in the whole land, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back to the dressing room area, did our sound check and everything, and I'm playing pool, and Bon Scott comes over again, and I'm different. He's a big rock star now in my head. Do you want to go first? And I was like Chris Farley, with Paul McCartney going, remember when you lived in Sydney, and I didn't know what I was talking about. Anyway, and then Angus Young, I was going, I get it. It's like a shtick or whatever. And I remember Bon Scott telling me, I liked you better yesterday. I liked your personality better than yesterday, because now you're acting like some grouped out fan. I'm like, God, I'm so sorry. Anyway, I don't know why I went into that long story. It was just a great fucking moment,
Yeah.
for me. And, God, all the bands in San Francisco wanted to, how come Kid Courage gets so open to them, and I don't know how we did it. I mean, one way how we did it was this guy named Sandy Einstein, who was our manager in Kid Courage.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a persistent little shit, he was, somehow we got like every Friday and night at the biggest rock and roll clubs in San Francisco, got to open to everybody. I mean, he was just on the phone, hey, my band's great. Yeah, we got to put his foot in like all the promoters' doors, Anyway, Kid Courage didn't last, and I went to Los Angeles. I answered an ad in a newspaper. It said looking for Eric Martin. It didn't say like lead singers, because it usually does, and that's how I usually get these gigs, And it said looking for Eric Martin as a lead singer for our band in the back of this magazine called BAM Magazine.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of blew me away. And, I'm looking around for a reward because I was super broke, Anyway, I joined this band called Stark Raving Mad that some super great players, kind of a progressive rock and roll band. And we went to LA, and we tried to hook up with this guy, Paul Fishkin, who at the time was, he owned Bearsville Records.
Yep.
And Bearsville Records had like Todd Rundgren and all kinds of people. And I think at the time, maybe he was, I don't know the connection. I kind of remember maybe the connection, maybe he knew Stevie Nicks or something like that.
Well, except that it was Stevie Nicks' brother that produced your.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think through Paul Fishkin, God, nice one. God damn. Oh no, you didn't go through my you didn't go through my private files, did you? Anyway, but through Paul Fishkin, I think he introduced us to Chris Nicks. Mm-hmm. We had another guy named John Golden that was the manager. So all these people were trying to get Stark Raving Mad up and running. It was kind of it was a hard rock and roll band. And we played kind of speedy, kind of rock and roll songs, but it was kind of like Styx.
Oh, okay.
But kind of more driven.
Yeah.
Like 10 Blue Collar Mans instead of. And so man, we beat that horse to death, figuratively. And I mean, all kinds of great stories there, just struggling stories, I mean,
right.
All the learning lessons and experiences that I went through. I mean, at the time I thought, this sucks, but it was so weird. We used to go to our manager's house, me and this guy, Tony Vanucci. He was a drummer of there was a Stark Raving Mad, and there were spin-offs and Shooter, then it became Eric and the Rivals. Mm-hmm. And we used to go to our manager's house in Beverly Hills, and he wasn't really a manager. I mean, it's just a guy who liked rock and roll music. And I remember we pulled up in front of the house, and he had this big bay window and a bedroom and a bay window. we used to throw like pebbles up there and go, John, we're broke. We need some money. We can't feed ourselves. We don't pay the rent or anything. And he'd open these big bay windows, and he'd have like a blue robe on, and it was like 3:00 in the afternoon, kind of like me right now, sort of disheveled. And he'd reach in his robe pockets, and he'd pull out cash, and he'd throw the cash down. We'd catch the cash. I mean, a total struggling, but
yeah,
begging and struggling and busking. I mean, we'd go down to I used to go down to the Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco after high school. Excuse me, and busk, play acoustic guitar, make some money, get enough money to go to Sacramento to see my mother. Same kind of thing in LA. Our bands would just go down to Santa Monica Pier and play music and, try to beg for some money, playing Rolling Stones songs or, whatever songs that we were into at the time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that didn't work out, Oh yeah, with the Stevie Nicks thing, it was hilarious because, we had all the attention, and we had Chris. Chris is a great guy, man. I don't know we never talked after that again, but it was his brother. It was Stevie Nicks' brother, and he didn't know how to manage, but he was just like, he was a big passion about music. Mm-hmm. Same thing with John Golden. And anyway, our band was it was a really, really good band. And we even had, like, our producer at the time was this guy, Gary Peel, who was a guitar player for Boston.
Oh, yeah.
And Lee Hager and everything. And we had all these great people around us. We were talented kids, but it just didn't click,
Yep.
So, but I was living in LA, and God, everybody left. And I had that Eric and the Rivals, had a couple local LA guys and everything. But I got a phone call from a good friend of mine named John Nyman.
Yep.
Who, he's in Y&T now. And he's been in Y&T like for, God, way past, 15 something years. But anyway, he called me up and said, want to start a band. And he had an established band called Mile High that was they were from Hayward, California, same thing as Y&T. But when I was in Kid Courage, Mile High, I mean, we were battle of the bands, trying to get the good nightclubs, and they always got some good gigs as well. So they're pretty popular. So anyway, struggling in LA, talked to John, said, why don't you come to Hayward and, sleep on somebody else's couch. Trust me. I mean, like, couch. That house that I had in LA, which was on Riverside and Laurel Canyon, one of them, there was nothing in the house at all. Kind of looked like the dressing room and the Punchline dressing room thing. Nothing in the house except a piano and a fireplace. And we had a orange tree in the backyard, and we'd just make orange juice, and we would get we had potatoes. Mm-hmm. I don't know why the fuck somebody had some connection to potatoes. We would or they're stealing them, and eggs. And we just have eggs, potatoes, and orange juice, like a breakfast, like for like about 2 years. Yeah. It was breakfast, and breakfast.
Yeah.
Anyway, went to Hayward. Me and John, this guy named Mark Ross was another guitar player, Tom Duke, bass player, and we had a couple drummers, and then a great, Troy Laquetta.
Yep.
He plays with Tesla and has been for years. So it was me and John. Oh, and Dave Jacobson, which is a keyboard player. And I think he was in UFO for about an hour and a half. I don't remember. But like, all these musicians, it's like almost kind of a Wizard of Oz story,
right.
A lot of tin mans and lions and scarecrows. That Stark Gravy Mad Band, the keyboard player in the band, Paul Taylor, went on to Winger,
Hmm.
and plays with Cinderella, and he writes for movie soundtracks now. But he wrote a song called "Miles Away," which is a huge hit for Winger. But anyway, at the time, you know, we were virgins. You know, we didn't write the big hits. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, ironically, "To Be With You" was floating around in my gym bag, but I never took it out and played it for anybody because I was too scared. You know,
Mm.
but where was I? So in Hayward, California, doing our thing, we had a bunch of silly names of the band, and then it was area code 415,
Yep.
San Francisco area code, and then it changed. Then it went to 415, and then then ironically, um, we were getting really good and everything, and it was such a twist of fate. The manager of the Mile High situation, the John Nyman band, and
Yep.
we, like I said, we changed it to 415, was this guy John Villanueva, and he worked for Journey.
Right. Yeah.
And so he worked for Journey. He was Herbie Herbert's best friend. He worked for Journey for years, and it was such a weird little twist of fate. The guy that was working as a publicity agent, I guess, or answering phones or whatever at the Journey offices, which is called Nightmare, was Sandy Einstein, which was the guy that managed me in Kid Courage.
Yeah.
All full circle, you know. And somehow I saw Sandy in LA once, and you know, I mean, he's a guy. He basically kicked me out of Kid Courage too. But I know, another learning lesson. I didn't go to practice. I thought my shit didn't stink at the time, like when I was barely 21.
Mm.
Better to have it happen then than later on in life. But
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, and then I hooked up with Sandy, and then John Villanueva managed. He managed Mile High, and then when I got in the band, it was a total different band. But we really liked these guys a lot, and plus, they had a Journey connection and musical connection, and we made a couple demos, and we played a show, and it was kind of a showcase show in San Francisco when we got John and Sandy to go to the man, the Svengali, Herbie Herbert, and have him come down, and we would wine and dine him, and he'd see our band, and we would be rich and be flying around in jet airplanes. No, but he came down and he saw us and he really liked us a lot, and he wanted to manage us. So, God, I mean, it's so weird. We're managed by Herbie Herbert. He got us he didn't like the name 415. We all had a big band meeting, and he said, bands like, I mean, you got the lead singer guy is the main focus of the band nowadays.
Yeah.
Those days, it was like Ryan Adams or Greg Kinn or Eddie Money, Eddie Money Band. And I said, like, the band name thing, I don't know how he worded it, but he wasn't saying like, Eric's the big star. He was just saying, I think we ought to just go with Eric Martin Band. I totally remember John looking at him was like, well, that's not cool. And me going, yeah, that's not cool. Great. It's got a good ring to it, Eric Martin Band, but like, I'm a team player. I'm a band player, man. And then Herbie goes, yeah. I don't remember if he said it to John or Dave or whatever. And he said, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. And everybody's like, okay, fine. So it was the Eric Martin Band. And we got signed to Electro Records.
Yep.
Through Herbie. And we made an album called Sucker for Pretty Face.
Yep.
I mean, we were kind of like the poor man's Night Ranger. It was we had two guitar players that had that same thing that Jeff Watson and Brad Gillis had. um, you know, the double lead kind of things, you know,
Hmm.
like a lot of bands. I mean, it's like Skinner or something like that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you what kind of I mean, it was a hard rock and roll band. Maybe we sounded like a little kind of like Y&T a little bit, but kind of pop style. Blame me. And Night Ranger ish, you know. And when we had keyboards, Dave played keyboards. I played piano on stage as well.
Yep.
But through Herbie's connection, we got Kevin Elson, who produced all the Journey records. Plus, he produced our idols, you know, like Leonard Skinner and a bunch of bands later on in life. But he was producing those great Journey albums. So he enlisted a friend of ours, friend of his named Rodney Mills, who produced Atlanta Rhythm Section. He basically kind of ran the Studio One in Doraville, Georgia, outside Atlanta. And that's what we did the record. So we, at the time, you know, the Hayward boys who moved to Marin County, which ironically I'm back. From there, we went to Atlanta, Georgia, and made this record, and it was a really good record. I mean, it sounds really, I mean, you know, sounds wonderful record.
Yeah.
A lot of great songs on it, and even to this day, there was one song, it was a ballad, this huge grandiose ballad called "Letting It Out."
Yep.
That I remember. Oh yeah, if you go to YouTube and see "Letting It Out," it's like Eric Martin Band live in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Opening the Journey at the Blaisdell Arena in Honolulu. You know, I don't know how many people, 12,000, 15,000 people. And it's a stellar performance on the band's part and my part too, man. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I mean, it was a really good performance. And that was the sound of our band. And it was, and we kicked around forever. We went on tour with, I mean, we played clubs all over the United States so many times and opened to everybody from like all the bands of the day, you know, in the 80s, Billy Squire, Loverboy, Foreigner, Molly Hatchet.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea who that is. You know who that is?
Yeah.
A band called Riot. Just fucking, and a lot of Y&T shows.
Oh,
Many Y&T shows. Yeah, I mean, they're one of my favorite bands of all time, actually. It's weird, but cutting way back for all of this band stuff. The first rock and roll band I ever saw was Queen at Winterland, and they were awesome. But Y&T, which were like probably 16-year-old, 17-year-old Hayward kids, they weren't better, but they were. I looked at Queen and went like, "Oh my God, I could never do that. That is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Now I'm here." You know, Freddie Mercury's everywhere, and Brian May, Taylor, John Deacon. I mean, just killer band. But Y&T was the band that I went, "Oh shit, I could probably do this."
Right.
I mean, I was a musician, and we were playing crummy little frat parties when I was a kid, but I went, "Oh man, if I really, you know, work hard, I could probably do this." I mean, but yeah, the mighty Y&T, my favorite band of all time. Anyway, Sucker for Pretty Face. We didn't make a second album. We worked really hard. We were together since 1979 till about 1984. We played with everybody. We toured with ZZ Top, played with Night Ranger, like I said. And I remember we coming back we had station wagons. We're traveling all over, all dusty ass station wagons. And we had two crew guys, this guy, Z Clark, ironically, another guy that made it. Zeke went on later on. I mean, him and I were roommates in this big band house in Marin County, but he went on to work for Van Halen. He was he's Artec, you know, and Sammy's, and he worked for Journey for a little while, but Van Halen was that's where he basically cut his teeth, you know. But he was driving the Ryder truck, and we were playing through all these places in the country. But we came home and nothing was happening, and we eventually just kind of dissolved. And Troy went to a band called City Kid that turned into Tesla. John Nyman went to sing background vocals with Y&T behind a curtain. There was an album by Y&T that was called In Rock We Trust.
Yeah.
John's gonna kill me for saying this, but it was hilarious. It's called In Rock We Trust, and it has like this cartoon robot on the cover. And I don't know what, maybe John said, man, I'm tired of being behind the camera or behind the curtain. I want to come out and sing with you guys. I'm just paraphrasing. I don't know if he said that or not, but they go, I got a better idea. Why don't you dress in this like funky ass cartoon robot suit and come out on stage? So he was kind of, you know, how Iron Maiden has that Eddie, that mascot. So this robot was the mascot thing, and John would come out. You know, what was the song? It was cool. I can't remember what the song was, but he'd come out and the band be all playing, and lightning bolts are shooting out of this robot costume. So that was his big claim to fame for a while. And then until he was such a great guitar player, and then then when poor Joey Alves got sick, I guess John kind of was filling in for him, and then eventually took over. But anyway, John went to Y&T, Troy went to Tesla. And the other guys, Tom moved to Oklahoma, I think, and joined a country band. Mark Ross he got kind of religious, and no, he was in a band called Jet Red. There's things about that band that did something in the music world, you know. Anyway, but he went to Jet Red, and then also went into a kind of religious rock and stuff, Christian stuff. And Dave Jacobson, who knows, UFO for an hour and a half, like I said. And then me, I had nothing, man. I was back in a band house with nobody in it. And
well, I wanted to back to.
I told you, if you ask me one question, I'll just keep going. Mr. Big Mouth, you know.
Well, I wanted to ask about the songs on the 415 demo prior to you guys getting signed, Street Dance and I'm Alone, and
Are you so? You just read something, and you're gonna.
Well, no, you can listen to those songs on YouTube.
Oh, you can listen to that stuff too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
Was there a reason why those songs weren't on the album? Like,
no, man. First of all, they're demos.
Yeah.
And they were probably shopped around to other labels after we got dumped from Elektra Records. So those came afterwards, and they were probably like, or no, maybe I don't know if they were just there. We just had tons of demos of songs, and we'd shop them around to labels, and then eventually we did get signed to Elektra Records. They did come first, I think. And so you know what the labels did back in the day. In the day, this is what I think. The people that work for those labels had all these demos, and instead of throwing all that shit away, they just sold them.
Right. Yeah.
Or gave them to collectors or whatever, and then they sell them, and yeah, you can hear all that stuff. Like, you know, there's about 50 demos, songs of 415. Yeah, I mean, there's some really poppy stuff. You know, Street Dance, find your rhythm. Yeah. Anyway, but there was this one song that was on there. It was great. It was a cool tune. It was called "Two for the Road."
Yep.
It was like, it was kind of a kind of a country rock and roll bluesy song, and it was really cool. And I wish that was on the Sucker record.
Yep.
But that didn't, Kevin didn't think, that doesn't go with the theme, so it didn't make it. But that was a really cool song. We had a 415 Eric Martin Band reunion years and years later. After like I'm in Mr. Big. This is this is cut way past.
Right.
Yeah. It was in 2000. My kids came, so they were little boys, and they had like, we made them little sweatshirts that had our logo was the excuse me, the like the dial for the telephone. Dial. It was a dial, and the numbers 415 were highlighted. And I could see my sons Jacob and Dylan wearing these little.
Yeah.
So they must have been like 4. I don't know. Maybe it was 2008. I don't remember, but it was 415 reunion at a place called the Mystic Theater in Petaluma, California, which is another Northern California spot, another 10 miles away. And I just realized I got to shave. I got about 10 hairs here, working their way in the world today. Anyway, God, you asked me one fucking question and I went off and just this is what I do, man.
Fine.
I have to be like bridled.
Why was the I love your guys's.
I gotta say the reunion, that was really good and that was fun. And Troy recorded it and like had like 8 cameras shoot and everything. And we've never seen that stuff to the last day. So maybe that. I remember way before Facebook came out, I had a GeoCities website account, and I remember talking about, oh man, wait till this video comes out. That was like 20 years ago. Anyway. All right.
I was gonna say that I love your guys' version of "Stop in the Name of Love."
Oh yeah, I have a it's somewhere around here. Because I just brought out all these old vinyl like 45s.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the single was "Sucker for a Pretty Face."
Right. Yeah.
And on the B side was "Stop in the Name of Love." I sang it in high school, some kind of talent show, and then I also maybe karaoke or something like that. I might have did some karaoke, drinking at some bar thing, and I won a contest, and I think I told the guys in the band, and they go, "Hey, we should work that up in kind of like a rock and roll style." And then we did it. Yeah, it was cool. That was the B side of "Sucker." That wasn't on the record, but yeah, right. That was good.
Yeah.
My voice was so freaking high. Only like dogs and mosquitoes could hear it.
Is it true too that there was a music video made for "Don't Stop," or is that just?
Yeah, there is. Did you go on my Facebook or something recently?
No, I can remember that from like.
No, because I was just talking about it with. Some folks on my Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, somebody had put up that "A Sucker for a Pretty Face" video.
Yep.
And I did what I always do. I go, oh yeah, I'm threatening to go up in the attic and get that "Don't Stop" video because it's somewhere up there. It's on VHS, and I haven't seen it since the 80s. It was shot in where was it? It was I think we did both of them in San Francisco, but it was kind of this cheesy. It was like a peep show kind of thing, and like
Yeah.
a lot of CD kind of porno, not porno. It was not, peep show kind of things in San Francisco back in the day, where you come in, you put your little coin in, the curtain would open up, and this girl would dance, and then you started getting into it, and then the curtain would close, and you got all your change, supposedly. Anyway, that's how the video was kind of set up.
Yeah.
And the curtain would open, and it was like, "Don't stop, babe." Just because this, actually, the song is by another one of my idols, this guy Frank.
Yeah.
And he had it on an album, and somebody thought that would be cool to do this cover on that sucker record. Anyway, yeah, the video, and it has me, breaking this fake glass, getting, going to get one of those girls or something like that. And, I'm not a video actor or anything, I'm breaking the glass. We had to stop the production because I had cut myself on candy glass. I don't know how that happened, because of an accident waiting to happen or something. I don't know. But yeah, that video, it's somewhere around here. I want to find it, and I want to put it out, I think people would get a kick out of it. God, I totally remember. I wore the weirdest fucking outfit. I had like leather pants and like a yellow shirt, a yellow shirt with like kind of edges on it, and it was black and yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking in my head, oh, thank God I have this on VHS. This is like 25, 30 years ago. Thank God I have this on VHS. And CDs came out, or DVDs came out. I was like, nobody will see the light. This will never see the light of day. But yeah, it'd be fun to see it. God, I know I'm in it a lot because I'm trying to get this girl, But anyway, yeah. So yeah, there is a video.
Okay.
And it was on Elektra. I mean, I wonder. I've tried to find that thing. Nobody had it except me.
Yeah.
Chante. So where were we? Yeah. So yeah, Sucker for a Pretty Face. I went to. Herbie got me a deal on Capitol Records. Did a couple solo records there. He actually got me a movie soundtrack on Capitol.
Yeah,
it's a movie. Yeah, it's called. How many questions have you asked? Like 1.5?
Before you moved on, is there a story with you guys for American Bandstand?
Yeah. There's a story. It's a stupid ass story, and I'm going to talk as fast as I can. It's on YouTube, but they don't have the performance.
Right.
But it's lip sync anyway, and you can only imagine. We were bumpkins, man. We were just. That's what I call we were rock stars, and we could like in our hometown, and we were the fans loved us and everything. But the minute we were on this television show, and I was like, bright lights, big city. I was such an idiot. I was just such a goofball that day. So American Bandstand tapes 3 shows in one day.
Yep.
And so it was the Eric Martin band. It was a R&B sort of disco band called Tavares.
Yep.
That had Disco Inferno. Anyway, and Madonna was the third. So we're all getting our makeup done, and I remember, me and the band we're outside like having a smoke, and we see this like VW microbus pull up in the parking lot. It doesn't have smoke coming out of it or anything, or peace signs, but it was just like this funky little Volkswagen van. It pulls up, and this girl gets out of it, and she's got a box of like all kinds of clothes and boas and glitters flying everywhere. And I was like, look at this gypsy. And I totally remember I used to have girlfriends like that in high school. I like girls like that, just kind of like She's talking to herself, and it's Madonna.
Yep.
And hey, you guys want to help me with this? Like, okay. But we're up, again, here I am going, what the hell is this? And yeah, I think she played like a virgin.
Yep.
And dressed up in that costume that was in the same box, that she's walking in, pulling I'm in the bathroom and just took a pee in the bathroom, and I'm coming out, and it was like a desperately seeking Susan moment where Madonna's in the back in the guy's bathroom putting on her lipstick. I'm like, well, that's weird. This is weird, but kind of cool. Anyway, we do a little sound check, lip sync of we played 2 songs. We did Sucker, and then we did Letting It Out.
Yep.
And yeah, so the story goes, if you see it on YouTube, it's another stupid claim to fame for me of how, this was me back in the day. I was just so nervous, and so Dick Clark goes like this. He says, he's got a microphone. He goes, okay, look, when I'm gonna talk to you a little bit, and then you're gonna introduce me to the band, and this is after the Sucker. We're dancing to this thing, and we're lip syncing, and so he goes, you're going to give me your microphone, and then you're going to go up to another bandstand part where you're going to get on a high platform and play your piano, and you'll have a microphone on that stand. And I'm like, what? This is too much information. I was totally like, I was just having an out-of-body experience, just going like, this is American Bandstand. Right. And Dick was talking to me, but it sounds like wah, 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 wah. I don't know what he's saying. And so we get on the actual show. I'm basically doing a video.
Right.
People that I don't know why people think this is real. It's not. It's lip sync, But I'm out of breath. I got so much fucking makeup on my face. It's like pancake makeup. It was like, ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. It was like, he's like a silent movie star. I look like a kabuki makeup. And I'm sweating. And Dick goes, hey, that was great. And I'm like, hey. And he goes, hey, are you all right? And that's what did it, man. I was like, huh, what? I mean, like, I sort of went above and beyond in this video. Suckerville, pretty, I'm dancing around 80s style. And, it's supposed to be I'm supposed to be cool, doing a video. I'm basically singing lip sync anyway, beating that to death. So he goes, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, okay, well, introduce me to your band. And I introduced everybody in the band, and I remember Troy Laquetta, reaching out from his drums. He says, so John goes, I like some of them, like, like a hard rock and roll music. I like the Who, blah, blah, blah. And then they go to Troy. We laugh at this all the time. Troy goes like this. He goes, so what are you into? Oh, no. Oh, sorry, I'm having a moment, because it was a good moment. I'm glad you brought it up. Mm-hmm. He goes, so who's this guy? And I go, that's Troy Laquetta, the Italian Stallion. My voice is so freaking high, and I'm nervous. Italian Stallion. And he goes, so what are you into? And Troy goes, a little Creedence. It's like, I remember, and Creedence Clearwater was a great rock and roll band, but we were trying to, I don't know what we were trying to do. We didn't plan what we were going to say. Little Creedence, it just looked silly. Anyway,
yeah.
And then he goes, Eric, you're going to give me your microphone. And I go, hold out my hand like I'm going to shake his hand. And he goes, it was like a fireman's carry.
Yeah.
It was just, so you're going to give me your microphone? And I go, hey. God, it's so stupid. And then I'm walking. He goes, oh, so the bass player. And I'm walking in front of him. You're going to see it on the video, man. It's hilarious. I'm going like this. I'm like here, for the camera, I'm like this. And then he kind of goes and moves me. That was a great moment, man. I love seeing that, you know. Anyway, yeah, the American Bandstand.
So prior to before your first solo album, were the auditions for like Van Halen, Toto, and Rainbow, were those before that, or were those like before?
There was so when I met Sandy Einstein again after Kid Courage, and I told you I met him in LA.
Yep.
He said Rainbow's looking for a lead singer, and somehow, okay, well, I couldn't even afford a plane ticket, and nobody was sending me a plane ticket. It was New York City, and that didn't pan out. And there was another one. You said Wishbone Ash? Did you say that name? Because that was another band that was looking for a singer as well. Wishbone. I didn't know their music, but I remember the bass player. There was another bass player that got a job in the band. His name is Alfonso Johnson. That was like a phenomenal bass player. But there was another band. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't even know anything about. I mean, I did know a little bit about Rainbow, of course, but all I remember was hearing like some horror stories about Richie Blackmore. But I was like, there's a lot of lead singers. I wonder what happened. Anyway, I wonder if I'm going to be next. And they basically just said that was really nothing. That was just saying, you know, hey, the lead singer. I wasn't like they weren't looking for me.
Right.
And the Van Halen thing came before Mr. Big. That was kind of a connection through Zeke Clark a little bit, and another connection through when I did my 2 solo albums on Capitol. This guy Danny Korchmar and Greg Ladani, who produced the Building the Perfect Beast album for Don Henley.
Right. Yeah.
And Danny Cooch is his nickname. And Cooch ran into Edward Van Halen in New York. I think at the time he was doing some kind of just doing walk-on kind of things for the David Letterman show, where that's on YouTube as well. You can check it out. Where Eddie Van Halen was playing with Paul Schaefer and Will and the band, and that's where Cooch ran into him and said, "Hey, man, there's this kid on Capitol Records. If you guys are looking for a lead singer, this kid's really, really good, and he's got a really high voice, really soulful kind of thing." And at the time, you know, like Eddie wasn't necessarily looking for another David Lee Roth. He was just looking for somebody new, something different. And so Cooch told me about it and said, I gave him your number. And then Zeke had mentioned, yeah, I know the guy. He's a good guy, and he sings really well, and you should check him out. And look, that didn't come into anything either, but it was a good taste. It was a taste that I sort of chickened out on it.
Okay.
But he'd called my house, and it was on the answer machine. I said, "Hey, you know, I'm Edward Van Halen. Cooch gave me your number, and I'd like to talk to you about working together. I'm going to call you next week." And he did. He said, "I'm going to call you next Friday." And I got one of those little tape recorder things, which we had like a little suction cup that you put on the kind of very like low end CIA kind of stuff, you know, where like put it on your telephone so, you know, you could record the conversation. And so he called, and you can kind of hear his voice, but you can definitely hear I'm louder in the conversation because of this cheesy apparatus I'm going. And he goes, "Hey, you know, I want to work. I like Cooch told me about you. And I'm working together, and I just want to tell you, man, you have a really great voice." And I'm like, "Hey, man, thanks, man. Hey, man, that's so great." You know, He's like, yeah, he's talking really low. And I'm like, oh my God, man. And I remember him saying, I go, did Cooch give you my record? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I love your voice, but I hate your record. And I'm like, and then on that recording, I'm going, yeah, I don't like it either. I'm totally, and it's coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's not really, And he goes, yeah, I hear you doing more harder rock and roll songs. Like, well, I used to be in a lot of hard rock and roll bands, but this was my, kind of my R&B phase. And he was like, yeah, I don't like it. I'm like, yeah, me either. Anyway, yeah, and then come down to LA, and and that was around the teachers movie situation.
Right.
I believe, and I was Neil Sean was a mentor of mine, because of the journey. Herbie managed Journey, Herbie managed me, and through Neil, when we did that teachers soundtrack thing, I got signed to Capitol Records.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we wrote the song, and I got signed, and then I did this album with Cooch, and then the movie came out, and I went to LA, and I remember seeing Sammy Hagar in the airport. Neil, and I'd see, you'd see a lot of musicians around in San Francisco. I mean, I was starstruck a little bit, but you see these guys all the time. It's like not a big deal. But anyway, we were in the airport, and Neil goes, "Hey, Sammy," and then Neil goes, "Yeah, Eric's going to audition for Van Halen." I'm like, "Hey, look, man, I'm just going down here just to talk with the guy." And then I remember Sammy saying, "Oh, I got that gig." And I go, "Do you audition?" And he goes, "Nah, I got it." It was just totally confidence. I mean, he had more balls than I did, man. Mine were shrunk. He was. He goes, "Yeah, I got to get." And Van Halen, Sammy Hagar, they were playing together for years.
Right.
Sammy was big back in the day, man. He was selling out Cobo Hall in Detroit, like Kiss, back in the day. And but I remember back in the day where he was, bands were bad mouthing each other, like in Cream magazine, and I thought there was some sort of animosity towards those guys. But anyway, he did eventually get the gig, and at the time when I remember, I could sit. I see myself. I was at the Sportsman's Lodge, which was on Coldwater in Hollywood, right down the street from the long and winding mountain road all the way up to 5150 to Edward Van Halen's house. And I was right down the road, and it was raining. I was kind of freaking out a little bit. And, I told him, my girlfriend's excited for me. My parents are excited for me. And I just totally chickened out. I was going to leave. I was leaving that afternoon anyway.
Oh.
But if I would have he would have picked me up. He said, I can pick you up if you're at the Sportsman's. And I kind of went, man, I don't feel that good. And I just chickened out. And I've said it a million times, but I'll say it again. I wish I would have done it. I don't know if I would have ever got the gig. I mean, who knows my personality back then? I probably would have said something stupid. I was so nervous and kind of sharp tongued back in the day. I mean, who knows if I would have got it. But if I wish I would have done it just so I could have bragging rights.
Right. And didn't you stay friends with Eddie too?
I mean,
kind of
acquaintance friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, because through Zeke, I mean, I went up to 5150 like a couple times to see Zeke, and I would see Eddie there tooling around, picking up gear, trying to, he's building guitars at the moment, or at that time, building his own guitar, and I'd see him, walking around the grounds and stuff like that. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, I don't think I even said, hey, I'm Eric Martin, that guy that, You know,
Yeah.
I'm the guy that didn't come up and just talk to you. It's so lame. Yeah. Another thing I used to say was I couldn't fit in David Lee Roth's "Those Are Mighty Big Clown Shoes" to fill.
Mhm.
You know, it took me years later to feel comfortable to talk to people on camera or be like, I love the spotlight, but I was kind of afraid of it back in the day, which didn't sound like somebody who wanted to be successful. I wanted to be successful, but I didn't realize all the stuff that you had to, you had to be sort of present.
Right.
I was a lead singer, but like for some reason I was a band guy for so long that I wasn't. I mean, some of my musician friends would go, "You're full of shit," but I wasn't comfortable enough to come up and talk to Eddie Van Halen,
Mhm.
sing some songs for him. And I wish I did. I mean, I could. I mean, it's too late now, but I could have. Only a year or two later, I just didn't have it in me to do it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, stayed acquaintances. I mean, I'm really good. I'm pals with Sammy, and I'm pals with Michael. I mean,
Yeah.
not pals. I mean, we don't. I don't see these guys all the time at all. But you know, I know one of them knows my name.
You must
Anyway,
have you must have been friends too with back when he was doing the rock thing, you must have been friends with Michael Bolton from the beginning, or kind of.
yeah, I was. I mean, I got a publishing company at the time. It turned into Sony Publishing. It was, I forgot what it was called, SBK or something like that back in the day. And they hooked me up to write songs with other people. And Michael Bolton wasn't Michael Bolton, back in the day. I mean, he was a rock singer.
Yeah.
He was he had a group called Blackjack, I think. Blackjack, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was a big fan. I had his record and a couple of records, and I was a fan of his. Oh, he had an album called Fool's Game. That was a really, really good album.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we hooked up as songwriters and then became friends. And he was staying at this like cool place in Hollywood called the Sunset Marquee. And I was probably sleeping on a band couch, or I don't know what I was doing at the time. But he was just a regular dude, regular cool guy, great guy, so funny. He kind of had, he would do these like Rodney Dangerfield kind of joking around. He was a great guy, and then he started to become real famous as a solo singer. I mean, I remember being we wrote a couple songs together. One was called Life After Love. I still have the cassette. Nothing ever happened to it.
Yeah.
I'm singing on it. He's singing on it. Same kind of, same Michael Bolton kind of type of voice, but more rock. And I remember, he had written songs with other people, but his big income at the time was, he did a Budweiser commercial. Like, I'm a Budweiser,
Yep.
I forgot what it was, but he was making residuals off of that, and anyway, yeah, and he went on to do things. And then later on in life, I was in, was I in Mr. Big? Maybe it was before I was in Mr. Big. Jonathan Cain, keyboard player for Journey,
Yep.
contacted me, and contacted me all the time to sing on demos for free. And he asked me to come and sing on, he was producing Michael Bolton.
Mhm.
What goes around comes around. And I had my solo band at the time, this guy, Dan Meblin, Jonathan's brother, Muggs, was the drummer, and a couple other people. And this guy, Mark Cholet, bass player, I think we all played on Michael's Hunger record, and
Yep.
the one with Sit Back of the Bay. But yeah, sang with him, friends. I was just talking about Michael the other day, how we were good friends
Yeah.
this where he made it and when he made it, and he was a really good guy. But I remember being in New York with Mr. Big, and I was in a taxi cab on my way to some radio station, and and I and the taxi was at a red light, and I saw Michael, and he's walking down the street. And I'm like, "Hey, Michael Bolton, what's up? It's Eric Martin." And he goes, "Hey, I'm a little busy right now, but I'll get back." Yeah, I'll call you. One of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I liked him a lot. He was a great songwriter, and he was a great singer. I mean, I used to call him smarmy a little bit, like.
Mm.
But he had like tons of fans who were all chicks. I mean, how was I afraid of that? I mean, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well, it was cool that I like your cover of "Can't Hold On, Can't Let Go" too.
Yeah. I love Michael Bolton so much that, like, even the record company was like, "Why are you doing this song?" Because this guy wrote it, and he's cool, and yeah, it was good. And we had the singers that were on that record, the Water Sisters.
Yeah.
It was the one that Schwartzmark produced. It was just Eric Martin, and it was the Water Sisters, and they had sung with the Rolling Stones,
Yep.
And through that, I don't remember if I had girl singers then. I might have, because I was totally into that kind of R&B rock and roll sound. That I started to have chick singers. It's because of the "Can't Hold On, Can't Let Go."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know basically every track.
How many questions have you asked now? 3.5? I'm telling you, hey.
I thought I read too that the song "Pictures" was left over from. Was that a 415 song?
Yeah.
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 It sounds like it.
It sounds like
it sounded different from like the rest of your first album.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what kind of music. I was into all kinds of styles of music back in the day. But
Yeah.
I really liked, which is it's kind of a Bruce Springsteen-ish kind of thing.
Mhm.
I woke up morning, another song that me and Tony wrote. Great song. Oh, my big break from Yahoo just came in. Sorry. You been getting that? I gotta why is Yahoo bugging the shit out of me lately? All right. Telemarketers. Good, man.
You have,
Your lighting is really, can I tell you that your lighting is really, really good?
it's just one lamp.
I mean, way better than it was when you did, when you interviewed Desmond Child. It's just, way better.
Yeah.
Maybe you're older. All right.
I was actually going to ask you, just wondering.
That I've had.
Oh.
I was going to say, I was waiting for you to ask me your fourth question, and I was going to tell you that I've had bad hair day through the whole COVID nightmare. All right, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, back then too, did you ever meet Desmond or Billy? Like back in the 80s or no? Desmond Child and Billy Steinberg.
Oh, no, I didn't. I mean, I could have. I read, I met a lot of song. I was a huge fan of, I mean, at the time, Desmond Child and Rouge.
Yeah.
I got a cassette, and Billy Steinberg. No, I didn't. I don't know if I ran into them, but I had a lot of songwriters back in the day. I mean, I was in my first album on Capitol with Danny Korchmar. I wrote the majority of the songs.
Right. Yeah.
With the, Can't Hold On, Can't Let Go. But me and Stan Lynch was on that record. Stan and I became kind of friends, and we wrote a song called "Call of the Wild." On the beach, we had two lawn chairs. Like, he had a kind of private beach, and like an apartment complex maybe. And we took these two lawn chairs and acoustic guitars, We went into the ocean, basically the front of the ocean here, right? And waters. It was just, I could see it in my head, and we just wrote Call the Wild. It was great. But the second album on Capitol, which was produced by Richie Zito, another guy that came into my life after this record. You know, he produced an album called Actual Size for Mr. Big.
Mm-hmm.
It's all ancestral. Anyway, that Richie record, Capitol thought, you know, the reason why your first record didn't catch fire, or, you know, radio didn't play it, is because of the songs. So they said, why don't you take a back seat from being a songwriter, which kind of sucked for me. I was bummed and sad about it. But they got a bunch of songwriters to write songs for it, and some were pretty good. But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember if I ran into Desmond or Billy.
Well, I mean, Billy especially, because one of the songs that Billy and Tom wrote was on your second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that Crazy? No,
Yep.
what was it?
Yeah. It was
Crazy World.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. Prolific. Yeah, great songwriter. Crazy, great melody writer and lyric writer.
Yeah.
Those guys were good. I mean, he went on to, did he write I Can Dream About You? Are you fans of his writing? Did he write that song, I Could Dream About You?
I'm pretty sure Dan Hartman wrote that too.
Dan Hartman did, but did Billy Steinberg write it with him?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were around at the same. Billy Steinberg did he write something for Cyndi Lauper back in the day, or?
Yeah, True Colors.
Colors, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, great songwriter, huge fan. Yeah.
Did you meet Dan Hartman too? Because
No.
Okay.
No. But when I was growing up and playing those bars in Sacramento, I was at Edgar Winter group.
Oh, yeah.
Dan Hartman was a bass player in that band.
Yeah, because so many of these songwriters on the second album, I know, like, he wrote a song, he wrote the title track for your second album, and
Dan Hartman.
Yeah.
Was that I'm Only Fooling Myself?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know any of them. There was another guy named Miles Hunter that wrote These Are the Good Times.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know any of these writers. I mean, I've run into some of them. No, but not really. I mean, like, but no, I didn't know him. There was this guy, Don Grierson, who was the head of AOR for Capitol Records, and he's passed away now, poor guy. But he picked all the songs. I mean, he picked all the songs on Private Dancer for Tina Turner.
Yeah.
Heart album. I mean, he was just a super great guy, and he found the songs for me.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting array of tunes on that record. I mean, some of them were pretty right. You know, there was a song called well, These Are the Good Times, which was kind of arena rock kind of sound, but that was on a movie soundtrack called Iron Eagle.
Yep. Yeah.
The Poor Man's Top Gun. And another one called If You Believe Me, which is kind of R&B and totally my style. And I'm Only Fooling Myself, the Dan Hartman song. It's really cool, kind of rock and R&B song. And then there was this weird song called Gonna Make a Lover Out of You. And it was okay. It was just, I don't know. It was starting to be, I was digging the songs, but then it started to not be me. I was like, yeah. Why am I wearing a gold lame suit and I got a mullet? You know, I don't know, just starting to not be me. I mean, I stepped in those shoes for a little while and started wearing purple sharkskin suits and zebra. You know, I don't know what the frick I was. Not zebra, but yeah.
I thought that was interesting too, that both your version of Every Time I Think of You and then FM's version were both the
Dude,
singles.
hold on for a minute. This
Okay.
is so. I just found this. I just found this out of a. I have a little collector's stash,
Oh, yeah.
and check this out. Can you see this? Is it? It's not backwards,
Oh,
is it?
oh yeah, I
You
can
see,
see it. That's cool.
it is really cool. So this was like a promotional copy or something. God, I've never opened it. It's like a Dead Sea Scroll. I hope there's money in it. Okay. Yeah, it's on Epic Records. Every Time I Think of You and a couple live things, but FM, yeah. God, that's so funny that you brought this up. But anyway, did I have this first? I don't know, because definitely FM did it before me. No, they did it after me.
No, yeah, it was after.
Um, but yeah, my version's pretty. Their version's pretty good, but please, please, I thought my version was awesome. Um, and we did a video for it too in San Francisco.
Yep. Yeah.
Dude, I could totally see that. It was like this one scene in the thing. It was like, every time so really cool. 19. God, what year was that?
87.
87, 85, 87.
87, yeah.
Yeah. Every time I think. It was great. It was great. Oh my God! It was Richie Zito played a guitar on it, and Richie Zito, man, God, he played guitar with Elton John, like in played stadiums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and it wasn't Randy, it was Nathan East, I think, maybe played bass. Mickey Curry from Bryan Adams played drums. Sounded brilliant. It was a really good recording. That's that's who I wanted to be. I like that kind of style.
Yeah. Right.
And some of the songs on the record was like, oh, what the hell? What's happening? I mean, if you see that video, I'm just, leather jacket and jeans, and I was kind of going for, I don't know what I was doing. Bryan Adams, but Paul Young. I don't know who I wanted to be.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, got pulled in all kinds of weird directions musically and fucking terrible fashion. Fucking hilarious fashion. Anyway,
So
go ahead.
what was the between the last solo album and then when you got Mr. Big together, what did you do? I think that was only like a year.
What did I do? Well, what did I do? Oh, I know what I did. I auditioned for Toto.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually thought I was in the band for a minute. Yeah, so did my solo record, and and it had been out, and I wasn't doing anything. I mean, I toured on both of these albums. I toured with Eddie Money, um, all up and around the United States and university tours a couple times, and opened to you know Herbie and Sandy and John. That I would get the great gigs, and I'd open to all kinds of people and Tina Turner and the whole bit. But and I had some radio airplay, but not enough. And then MTV did play that information video. And Every Time I Think of You, it was on not VHS. What was the other one?
Laserdisc?
No, MTV and VH1.
Oh, VH1, yeah.
VH1, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did get some radio airplay, but nothing to write home about. Nothing was going to be like a regional hit kind of star.
Right.
But I was playing a club in San Francisco called Wolfgang's, which was owned by not Herbie Herbert, Bill Graham, and his son was Wolfgang too. Edward Van Halen's son, Wolfgang.
Right. Yeah.
Bill Graham, yeah, that's what a twist. Anyway, Wolfgang's nightclub, and Don Grierson, who was at Capitol, and Herbie, and all these people came to see me play, and Steve Lukather, and a couple of the other players. Randy Jackson was there too, funny. And they brought their friend Boz Skaggs, who they always work with Boz. And all these like famous kind of people came to see me play. And I guess I wowed him. And Steve, and I think with the connection there was Lukather had played on a couple of my solo albums as well. I don't know. Yeah, he played on, did he play on the second one? Yeah, he played on the first, and I think he played on both. And we were friends. And then he came to the show and he brought all these fine folk with him. And then he said, "Hey, look, I want you to audition for Toto. I think you'd be perfect for our band." I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, this is something I wanted to jump into. I mean, the whole Van Halen thing was like, I would love, and look, I wasn't, just because I was going to audition or talk to Eddie Van Halen, I wasn't going to be in the band. You know, this was just a kind of first meeting, you know, back in the day, and I chickened out of it. Something in the back of my head thought like, I couldn't do this. I mean, I think I could do it. I think I can. I think when somebody hears me sing, maybe they, you know, go, "Oh man, I think you'd be." It would fit, but it didn't fit in my head. I just couldn't put it together. The whole excitement of it was super exciting, but it didn't work out. But the Toto, I could have done Toto. Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of nervous being around some of the guys. Anyway, I went to LA, and they were rehearsing at a place called Leeds rehearsal studio in Hollywood. And I stayed at the Beverly Garland Hotel. That's where they put me up. And I went in every day, and they were rehearsing, or maybe they were, I don't know what they were doing, because they were working on an album called Fahrenheit at David's house, which he called The Manor, I think. And then they were like, maybe they set up for me. I mean, I don't know, man. They had all their gear, and all the road crew guys were there, and they looked like they were going on tour. I don't know. It was, and I came in and I sang like for about 4 or 5 days. Just came in and just sang pretty much everything. I mean, whole line, and I remember Africa, man. From you. I mean, my voice was super high. I was super tight. Georgie Porgy, Pamela, everything. I had a big songbook. Oh, it was killer. But I remember going up to the Manor, David Page's house, and I was nervous. And he's saying, "Yeah, hey, here's a song. Sing this song." And he goes, Lukather made and I wasn't nervous around Steve. I was nervous around the other guys. I mean, the Carl brothers and all that.
Right.
But Page, he goes, "Here's this really cool ballad song." And I go, "Oh, how's the melody going?" He goes, "Well, Lukather did the guide vocal, did the demo vocal for you, so you can hear. Listen to his thing, and then you sing the verse. Then listen to him sing the chorus, and you sing the chorus." And it was the song "I'll Be Over You," which kept going. I'd be like, da, 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 da. I can't remember how it goes. "I'll be over you," and I thought, I didn't. Hey, look, that sounded pretty good. That wasn't that good. But I was going, what the frick? What the hell am I singing this for? God, Luke, you sound amazing in it. He goes, "Nah, I'm just doing the demo," and I don't know. And Paige was saying, "I think he sounds great too." Luke was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to sing it. You know, man, you're the guy. You should be singing it." I'm like, "No, man, I think this song you should sing." I mean, look, I was the one. No, I mean, so many people probably told him he sounded great in it, and he did, and he's, not only a great guitar player, but just a really great whispery type of soul singer.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, yeah. So the Toto thing, man, that didn't work out, man. I think, I felt like they all liked me, and they were really nice to me, and you know, I don't know if I want to go into this, but I I went out to a nightclub with them one night. We went out every night, and we went out to a nightclub, and we saw friends of theirs. What was that guy's name? He's such a nice guy. I don't want to get on YouTube or get on online and look it up. The bass player for Chicago. Oh, it was fuck. Look it up right now, man. His
Okay.
father played on my solo album.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit. Shit. I'm gonna look it up. You look it up because I don't want to be like I'm looking it up right now. I'm gonna be feeling so stupid. Um,
It's not Peter Cetera, is it?
that was a singer, and he was a bass player too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no. Afterwards, come on, man.
Guitar.
Oh God, it'll come right to me. No, come on, man. His father was the bass player for Elvis Presley.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, Jason Chef.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jerry Sheff was the bass player that played on my. I did a solo album. It was another just Eric Martin. I think it was called Somewhere in the Middle, maybe I don't remember. But and Jerry Sheff played on that. But yeah, Jason Sheff was playing at the nightclub, and we went and with an all-star kind of band, and me and Jeff and Luke, and I don't remember who else was there, but we were all hanging out, and I had a couple too many glasses of wine or something, and maybe I was feeling, I was nervous and all that kind of stuff, but I probably said some stupid shit, being sarcastic or kind of goofy, or I don't know. That's what that's what Luke said he said that and he told me, he goes, yeah, I don't know, man, I think you rubbed Jeff the wrong way or something. And I'm like, really? I thought we were having such a great time. Anyway, everybody in the band liked me, and we all went to a restaurant a couple days after that, and we'd already been playing and having fun, but we went to the restaurant, and each guy's telling me, oh man, we really like you, and it's kind of, we're going to vote on it and everything. And each one of them kept going outside, having a smoke and coming back, and like everybody came back except Jeff. Jeff split, and then they all kind of just said, hey, look, we took a vote, and they didn't say that Jeff didn't like you. They just said, we took a vote, and it's just not going to work out.
Yeah.
Or they said, hey, we'll get back to you, because I kind of remember it. I remember it where I thought I might have had the gig. And when I went home and I read in a newspaper, like, I swear to God, it was like a Hollywood Reporter, which I would never, I was into movies and TV shows and stuff, but why I was picking up a Variety or a Hollywood Reporter, I don't know why. That's what hey, look, maybe I remembered it wrong, but I opened that up and I saw that they had already got a new lead singer, which was what's his name? Joe Williams.
Joseph Williams, yeah.
Williams, great singer,
Yeah.
great performer, great writer, and his dad wrote Star Wars. Anyway, but he was the better man for the job, I guess, and I was really bummed that I didn't get it, and I didn't really think about that nightclub thing until, Luke, I don't know who sent it to me, but it was an excerpt of Steve Lukather's book, And he said that, like, I mean, every time I hung out with Luke since then, you know, we'd run into people and go, "Hey, man, remember this guy? This is the guy that got away. This is the guy we should have had, you know, or this is the guy that we should have like tried out, you know." And we're friends and all, but he wrote a book and he said, "Yeah, like I might have got a little tipsy at a nightclub and said stupid shit," which I could totally understand because I have said stupid shit before. Trust me. But I thought we all hit it off. And anyway, but yeah, so it didn't work out, but it worked out for the best for me because only about a year later or 6 months later, my friend Mike Varney, who had a record company, Shrapnel Records, and discovered all these super talented guitar players, Yngwie Malmsteen, Alpine, Vinnie Moore, Richie Kotzen, Paul Gilbert, all these big star guitar heroes, gave me a call, and we've been friends since the Kid Courage days.
Yeah.
He was in a band called The Nuns, and I was in Kid Courage, and yeah, I mean, we've been friends for years. He called me up and said, "Hey, you know, you're a solo artist now, but are you looking to get into a rock and roll band again?" I go, "Yeah, I got to do something, man, because the fish ain't biting."
Yep.
And he goes, "You ever heard of Billy Sheehan?" And I go, "Man, is that guy? Is that kind of colorful guy that's in that Yankee Rose video on MTV with David Lee Roth?" I go, "Nah, I don't really know him. He's, you know, pretty. I think my words were he a pretty colorful guy."
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know his days of Talus or how long he's been playing bass. I just saw some rock and roll god up there playing bass with David Lee Roth. But he goes, "Yeah, he's not in the band anymore, and he's looking to start a rock and roll band." And I played him a song that was in that Teachers soundtrack that I did years ago with Neil Schon. It was called "I Can't Stop the Fire."
Right. Yeah.
And he played it for Billy. And then I go, "Wow, that's cool. What does he think?" And he goes, "Well, you can talk to him yourself." He had like one of those party line things. And he goes, "Yeah, Billy's on the other line with us." I'm like, how do you work that out? Anyway, and I go, "Hey, man, how you doing?" He's like, "Hey, it's Billy Sheehan." And the rest is history. We just, I remember he had a couple songs. I had a couple songs. At the time, we didn't have Paul Gilbert. It was just, he had a dream band going. It was all it was just him and I. But we had Steve Stevens from Billy Idol, sort of like,
Yep.
in plain sight. And then I can't remember who the drummer would have been. I don't know. I don't remember who that might have been. But anyway, and Billy and I just shopped around, you know, went all over freaking Hollywood, and we had a little demo. He had a couple songs and I had a couple songs, and we just shopped to get a record deal. And I think, yeah, we went to all of them. Warner Brothers, the Ted Templeman connection with Billy.
Yeah.
You know, he had a little chat with him, and then yeah, just a bunch of record companies, and then we eventually got Paul Gilbert, and that's a story in itself. Billy and Paul was a big fan of Billy's, and Billy knew I didn't know it. They had a connection, so I got Paul, and then we auditioned one other drummer, a friend of Paul's. His name was Bobby Orechika. I don't know. Hey, Bobby. And I thought he played pretty good, but then Pat Torpey was the second guy to come in and audition. And no offense, Bobby. Pat came in and just slayed us. I mean, he played drums. He was his voice sounded like Paul McCartney. He was a great guy, kind of a jockey, kind of baseball playing. He was kind of a scrapper. He was like one of those, and he was a really personable guy. Everybody loved him right off the bat. And in our whole 30 years of being together, I mean, he was kind of like the referee and the priest and the glue that held us all together. He was just a great guy, and he was a super great drummer. But yeah, and the four of us just started making demos and playing showcases, and the fish were not biting. Nobody got it. And Atlantic Records came from New York to see us do a showcase, and we were all gearing up. That's right. When I got in Mr. Big, I moved from San Francisco to LA.
Okay.
I didn't move. I stayed in hotels. I stayed in that Beverly Garland Hotel again or another place called the Oakwood Gardens, which is a lot of rock and roll artists stay at these transient hotel kind of things.
Yeah.
You're only there for like a couple months, and then I would like drive back and forth for months, for years actually, from the Bay Area to LA. Anyway, long story short, story of my life, by the way. Atlantic Records came down, and Billy got sick. He ate at some restaurant. It was called Flaky Jake's, which is that in itself probably the kiss of death. He got sick, and we couldn't do the showcase. We didn't even meet with the guys because they were like on the other side of Los Angeles, staying at like probably Beverly Hills Hotel or something, and we were in the Valley. And we had to call them and say we can't do the showcase. So they just turned around and went back to the airplane. Somebody had met with him. Maybe Herbie. I'm scooting around here because when I got in Mr. Big with Billy, Billy had a connection because he was already kind of famous already. I mean, like he was in David Lee Roth and he was on MTV and he was kind of the famous guy. And I'd been kicking around for years, but like nobody really knew me. And so that's what he brought to the table. And what I brought to the table was Herbie Herbert to manage Mr. Big.
Yeah.
And Kevin Elson to produce us. So it all worked out. Anyway, so Billy got sick. And I think Herbie had met with the Atlantic guys, and he gave him a little demo, which was pretty much like 4 songs that were off our first album. Mm-hmm. We had me up, but this was like demos of those songs. And he gave it to him, and I don't remember the guys' names that came down, but this is Atlantic Records, man. They signed Led Zeppelin, Aretha Franklin. Hello. They flew back to New York, and they signed us from that demo. They didn't even see us.
Wow. Yeah.
So we got signed, and I just looked at the clock, and I've been talking to you for 2 hours, and you've asked 4 questions. Oh man. All right. So Mr. Big, and we made a bunch of records, and Kevin Elson, and made up shitloads of money and played clubs to auditoriums, to arenas, to stadiums, to 100,000 people, sold out gigs, for many, many years. I mean, there was a period where after the first 4 albums, Paul Gilbert had enough, and he wanted to pursue his solo thing, and and then Richie Kotzen, another Mike Varney protege. Mike Varney has always been there for me, and Mr. Big. Anyway, Richie got in the band, and we made a couple of albums with Richie that were one was called Get Over It, and the other one was Actual Size. I loved those. I mean, there were some tumultuous things going on, some stupid back fighting in-house fighting a little bit, but great records. And I really enjoyed Richie being in the band. I thought, I mean, I love Paul Gilbert too, but there was some kind of a cool connection with me and Richie because Richie was a singer. I was a guitar player and a singer. And so when he got in the band and we're doing, he got in the band and we performed a lot of the older Mr. Big songs at first to, jamming around. And then I would hear his voice do background harmonies. And it was like, he just didn't, he needed to shine. See how I did that? And he wrote these songs that he was using for himself, but he goes, okay, I'm giving them to you now. You're the lead singer. And I did this, man. I swear to God. Nobody did it. I did it. I convinced Billy and Pat to have me and Richie do more of a Righteous Brothers, Sam and Dave thing.
Oh, yeah.
We'd trade off, and we would be the two lead singers. And look, hey, man, you got to have a lead singer that's kind of confident and comfortable in his shoes to have some other guy come over and, take his, I wanted it. Right. I was cool. Yeah. I loved the novelty and the shtick of it. Him and I were going to trade back and forth. I mean, maybe Mr. Big was already established and we already had To Be With You and we already had some hits and we were like, at the time, I had 2 or 3 hits going, and we've already opened a Rush and Aerosmith, and did all these tours, and we were an established rock and roll band. We had a huge fan base overseas, especially in Asia and Japan.
Yep.
And then Richie got in the band, but with me and Richie doing that sort of lead singer trade-off, it was another sort of level that I thought. I thought it kicked in great. I mean, when we did, it's not the greatest video in the world for all kinds of reasons, but he wrote a song called Shine, and him and I trade back and forth in the vocal in that. And that's on YouTube. You can check out that video or whatever video site Vimeo or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not hip. And we did another song called Suffocation. That was a cool trade-off. And then we wrote a song that I was on a B-side of some record. I don't think it was on a record. It's called You Don't Have to Be Strong. Mm-hmm. We wrote a bunch of songs together too. But I really like the Richie years. And then that dissolved. And then so a good 5 to 6 to 7, who knows, I don't remember, years went by, and I want to say it was like maybe 2000, the end of 2007 or 2008. I was playing in Naples, Italy, and I was opening to Richie Kotzen.
Oh.
Did some gig, and Pat Torpey was playing drums with Richie at the time.
Oh.
Everything works out if you let it. And I played the gig, and the dressing room. It was an amphitheater, and there was like on a college or a school.
Oh.
And a couple of the classrooms were where we dressed. That was our dressing rooms. And I remember sitting in a classroom with Pat and him saying, man, we got to get the band back together. Kind of like Blues Brothers. We're on a mission from God. And just so surreal. Two old rock stars, in Naples, and it was a garbage strike. There was garbage everywhere. It was weird. And it was Italy, and we were both looking at each other going, what are we doing? And we were playing some funky gig, and we're all driving around in a van, or I was in a car, They were in a van. We're following around each other all over Italy, playing these little shows.
Yeah.
What do we should be? Let's get the band back together and, you know, start making some money. Start making try to get that old fire going again. You know.
Yeah.
And that was I think that was around 2008, and Billy had I'd reached out to Billy because I wanted. God, I feel like I'm fading here. I've been talking for so long. I'm talking myself to sleep. My son Dylan was started to get interested in the music.
Yeah.
And I was singing to him all the time, and he was picking up a guitar and slanging it, and I remember he had a little ukulele. He was trying to play it, and my wife was playing drums. So they were. I have another son, Jacob. He went to the drums. So they started getting into music, which was making me feel so good at the time. And it was gearing towards Christmas of 2008, maybe, or Thanksgiving, Christmas, something like that. And Dylan goes, "Dad, I want to play bass guitar." And I'm like, okay. So I thought it would be kind of a cool olive branch. I hadn't talked to Billy in years, got it way past 5-6 years. I saw Paul at a couple of in-stores. I ran into Richie at a couple of airports or something. I talked to Pat on the phone a couple times, maybe, but it was years and years later when I ran into Pat and we were talking about, let's get the band back together. And I think, I don't know how it, well, no, I think the Billy thing came first, maybe, and then the Pat thing. But so I reached out to Billy and said, hey, my son wants to play bass. Do you think, and he's left-handed, so do you think, Yamaha makes a left-handed bass? What do you do? You put the volume knobs up here and you change the strings. I don't know. He goes, no, I don't think Yamaha doesn't make it like that. But I'll look around and I'll try to find something for you. But he did, and he found it in a Japanese pawn shop, and he kind of turned the strings around, whatever. It wasn't a left-handed bass, but he found this little bass guitar, and he had had a Billy Sheehan How to Play Bass song book or an instructional book and a videotape, and it was sent, and we gave it to my son for Christmas. And it's and I talked to Billy Sheehan in years, and we kind of had a weird falling out, and there's my little son playing bass, and I'm listening to and I'm videoing him, and he's listening to Billy Sheehan's voice.
Yeah.
First thing you need to do is whatever to play bass. It was just surreal,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it kind of gave me a good feeling, and then through the Pat Torpey connection, I finally did reach out to Billy and said, hey man, let's try to get the band back together. And I think he said, I would love to do that, but I don't think Paul would be into it. And Paul's doing his own thing. We haven't played with Paul since 1996.
Yeah.
And like I said, I ran into him in a couple Guitar Center guitar clinics, maybe once or twice, but we hadn't had a relationship in, easily 10, 11 years. So, where was I? So, I'm fucking fading, Chris. Did I show you the FM? So, where was I at? So, fucking, you're supposed to give me some tools, some information on what read the minutes of the day. Where was I at in this conversation?
You're getting the last reunion together.
So Paul, ironically, Paul is playing the the House of Blues in LA. And opening is Richie Kotzen with Pat Torpey.
Oh,
And then Billy and I were talking on the phone, and he goes, I'm going to go and watch this show.
yeah.
And then I'm going to go talk to Paul at the end of the show. And so Billy's there. And I remember getting a phone call at the time going, oh my God, this is so weird, but Paul Gilbert, Richie Kotzen, Pat Torpey, and Billy Sheehan are at the House of Blues, and they're all there together, and they're playing a show. Where are you? I'm like, well, I'm in the Bay Area, man. I'm like, I'm not driving to LA. And they eventually all played together, and they played. They played 30 Days in the Hole, which is a song by Humble Pie, which indirectly, when Mr. Big first got together, we all agreed on bands that we like we, everybody liked all kinds of different bands. But then when somebody said like, hey, what about Free? We go, oh, fucking love Free. So we all agreed on Free, and then we all loved Humble Pie. And somehow we played 30 Days in the Hole. It was a live recording, and that was on the first album that we did that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they played 30 Days in the Hole. It was all because, it was all just this beautiful spiritual musical connection. And they played 30 Days in the Hole. Crowd went crazy. And Billy talked to Paul. Paul was saying, oh man, I was totally thinking about getting the band back together after this performance that we did. When he saw the excitement of like all the Mr. Big alumni getting together and playing the thing, he thought that it was time to get the band back together. So Billy talked to Paul, I talked to Pat, and we all met at Pat's house. I think that was January of 2009. I know exactly when it was. We got together on January 19th. God, check this out, man. We got together. It wasn't at Pat's house. We went to the NAMM show, and Paul played with Racer X. It was me, Billy, Pat, and Paul, and we're just talking about getting the band back together. I think it was January 19th what the NAMM show thing was. And then it was my brother's birthday. I totally remember that. And then on the 20th, my sisters, I went back home, and on the 20th, my sisters called and said, Mom's in the hospital and she doesn't look good. And my mother passed away on the 20th.
Oh.
Kind of trippy. I know, fucked up. And then the band got back together. I was trying to call my mother to tell her that I go, hey, Mr. Big might get back together, and this is really great. And I left a message on her machine, and my sister Joni called me and said, yeah, Mom's at hospice, and she had all kinds of pulmonary issues and stuff and everything, and it took a turn for the worse. And yeah, it sucks. And we were there, and here I'm telling my mother about, Mr. Big's gonna get back together, and she's dying. It was weird.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm totally blanked out of the situation. All right, ask your 4.5 question.
I was gonna. I was wondering.
Now, how's my hair look, by the way? It was wet. I just got out of the shower and it's dried, and I might need a haircut, but through the COVID situation, I might have to keep letting it go. All right, go.
Did you?
Where do you live? Where do you live?
Minneapolis.
Oh, you're in Minneapolis. Oh, wow. You should be wearing a parka. Isn't it? Aren't you getting snow yet?
It actually hasn't been that bad so far, which is surprising.
I have 9 cousins in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
My mother's brother, Uncle Bobby, he's passed away a long time ago, but he we traveled from Sacramento to Minnesota like one summer,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we're gonna go see your cousins. I'm like, okay, we were little kids, and we went to this big house in Minneapolis on a farm, and and I met all 9 cousins.
Wow.
Bobby, Timmy, Tommy, Timmy, like Parchin family.
Yeah.
Anyway,
How often do you ever come back here?
no,
Okay.
I went to my, what I did, I went to my uncle's funeral. We all got back, and I was older. And then I was in Mr. Big, and this is kind of funny. So my uncle, he drove tour buses, but not for bands, for like farming,
Oh, yeah.
in the industry people in the farming world. And he would drive these kind of luxury buses. And then so when Mr. Big came through Minnesota a couple times, all 9 cousins and girlfriends and wives and kids. I mean, I remember we used to tell Sandy Einstein or Herbie or something back in the day, hey, we were opening to some band. I go, can I get 5 guests? And they're like, oh, Eric, hey, we only get 10 guests. I'm like, I really need 5 guests. And then I remember going to Minnesota. Can I get 27 guests?
Yeah.
But yeah, and they all came on our tour bus and talked about my uncle and how he would have been so excited to, see a rock and roll tour bus and how
Right.
And I talked to some of them, through wedding things and congratulations and
Right.
birthdays and celebrations. But no, I haven't seen him. But I mean, like I'm telling you, there's a Timmy and there's a Terry and there's a Bobby and there's a Billy,
Right.
and then and there's a Delpha and there's another Terry. There's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Pam, I think. Watch one of the cousins go, we don't have a Pam. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask, when did you meet Mariya Takeuchi?
Oh, dude, you're rich. I don't think I met her.
Oh.
It was just, yeah, none of my fans know anything about this kind of stuff. So Mariya Takeuchi, she's a very famous singer in Japan.
Yep.
She was doing what was this for? I can't remember.
It was a tribute album for her.
Tribute album. Do you know the song?
Yeah, it's like Cheer Up.
Oh yeah,
Cheer Up something.
Happy, positive, cool, popping R&B song.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did it. Yeah, I didn't know her.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know her. But I mean, when I've been to Japan a million times, I mean, I know of her, of course.
So, well, yeah, because I just figured that since
you're Chris Farley right now, in a sort of, you're Chris Farley on Quaaludes. You are right now. All right.
And then I was going to ask in relation to Mr. Big, were you already friends with David Graham, or did you meet him, like the co-writer of To Be With You?
No. I met him through a publishing situation, like the Michael Bolton. Yeah, he was a songwriter. He was a bass player, I think, a bass player, or he was in the play, a musical called Beatlemania.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was kind of a big Beatles fan. And when we hooked up, he goes, well, have you got anything? And I reached into my little blue gym bag and I pulled out the cassette of, I got this, or maybe I was playing acoustic guitar. I played him a little piece of it, but I have the song, and I'm calling it, I'm the one who wants to be with you, or I'm the one, to be with you. And I was like, I'm the one who wants to be with you deep inside of blah, da, 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 da. And I had a melody in the chorus, and a couple of the verse words. Hold on, little girl, show me what he's done to you. Stand up, little girl, broken heart can't be that bad. When it's through, it's through. So I had a big nucleus of the song, but my version of the song was like, hold on, little girl, almost. Our house is a very, very, very fine house.
Oh,
I was really into Nash and Young. I wasn't thinking Beatles or wasn't thinking anything like that. I just had this really good verse and a cool cool title and a good melody in the chorus. And when I hooked up with him, he goes, I think right off the bat, he goes, hey, let's get a beat going. So it was like boom, bah, boom, bah. I'm the one who want like, and I go, oh, that's cool. Kind of because mine was kind of folky, and it sounded like all we are saying is give peace a chance. Anyway, I had that vibe, and I went to his house. He had a piano. I don't know if he played acoustic guitar and I played piano, or he played piano. I think he played piano and I played acoustic guitar in our first demo. And he thought of the lyrics, your game of love was all rained out, which I thought was kind of cool. Maybe he was a sports buff or something, but that was maybe kind of, I went, oh, everything he helped me with was great. And I thought what he did to make his half of To Be With You great was great. I mean, he did
right.
Thought of this modulation. Like I would have never thought of that when it's in E and it goes up to G, C, whatever. Hold on, man. I love it. I can't even remember. Of course it goes to G, you moron. Hold on. So it's like, come on, baby, come on, let me do one. Yeah, I don't know why I say it's like, yeah, G. And he thought of the modulation and then coming back down to E. I thought it was just so smart. Anyway, so yeah, we wrote, I came in, I had that silly song for so many years as a nursery rhyme song, man. I had a Mother Goose nursery rhyme book, and I would just open this book and I just make up songs and just Jack and Jill went up the hill, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this song would have been kicking around forever and ever and ever again. I mean, like, who knows? I mean, I had the tune, but it wasn't finished, and he helped me finish it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was just curious too. This is kind of random, but did you know Benny Mardones at all? Oh, you didn't? Okay. Because I was a huge fan of him, and I was friends with him on Facebook forever, and I never really interacted with him before he passed away. I just thought that he was really underrated.
Oh yeah, he was. But do I have a connection somewhere in the chronicles of Eric Martin? I mean, do you have you're Mariya Takeuchi? You're bringing shit out that like no one knows. Yeah, I mean, do I have a Benny Mardones indirectly? No. Maybe the people that I play with him.
I don't think so. I just because vocally you guys are kind of similar, so I just thought that maybe you've ever met him or anything.
No, I never met him, but like now I'm like, no, I got as soon as we get off this, when we get off this interview thing, when the third hour mark passes, I'm gonna go check out Benny.
And I'm actually a fan of Mariya too a lot. I just yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, she's great. Do you like Japanese singers? And
yeah,
me too. Me too, man. God. I mean, you kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I can't. There are a couple singers that I've actually done duets with,
Oh,
and yeah, and there's a couple of them that have like played shows with me. But I'm spacing out. I can't even remember their names at the moment. But
are they also other female artists or
female artists, yeah.
okay?
I don't. I met the guys. You know, like I'm like in the. Obviously, I'm good friends with Tak Matsumoto from
Yeah,
Bees and
right.
some of the guys in Glay and a couple, couple male artists, but like I'm mainly big fans of the female artists.
Yeah. Well, because how I discovered her, I think, was I went through Steve Lukather's discography, and he played in
Wait,
1980.
100.
Yeah,
There must have been. There had to be some weird connection there too, or maybe that's a weird one of those things.
yeah,
You know. Yeah. Wow, that's cool. I spaced that out. He played on some of her records, or
yeah. Because
did
she did one in Los Angeles in 1980, and that was all like David Foster was on it, Richard Page, like Steve Lukather, like
oh yeah, the the Rat Pack of Hollywood. Cool.
yeah. um, what was I going? Oh yeah, I guess I can end it with what do you want your legacy to be when people hear your music?
Uh, well, I mean, like, okay, so Mr. Big, we played our last, or the last time we played together was in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, Pat Torpey had passed away and left a huge hole in my heart,
Hmm.
which he just had. I just celebrated his birthday. He had a birthday on what is today? Tuesday.
Yep.
Is today? Yeah, Monday. That's right. Anyway, my legacy. I don't know. I mean, I'm still going, bro. Am I out? Am am I, is this not my time to shine anymore? Um, so in between Mr. Big, over all these years, I've been doing acoustic shows all over the world. I mean, I've been to India
Yep.
6 times,
Wow.
Europe, just hundreds of times. I've gone through 4 passports, stamped from every country.
Yep.
My kids don't care anymore. They loved, they wanted to get into music when they were younger, and then they just went into sports, and they just don't give a shit. So like I remember, like I'd go, I've been to Nepal, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
Or you know, so we're studying, we're studying Ireland, Dad. I'm like, been to Ireland, dozen times. Yeah, we don't care. But I travel around the earth, playing acoustic shows with partners. I mean, I was playing with this guy David Cottrell, that is a guitar player for a band called Demon in England,
Hmm.
and then PJ Farley from Trickster. Him and we played together and played acoustic shows in the United States. Another guy, Simon Caviani, another kind of budding, up and coming guitar player, singer. Tons of people that I work with. Marcus Cranberg, I don't know his new name now, Marcus Cranberg. And we play, like I said, and I play a lot of Mr. Big stuff, my solo song albums, and new songs that I've written. And I've been kind of flirting around with that idea for a long time, just making an acoustic rock record.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
so through this COVID chaotic nightmare, that's what I've been doing, playing kind of more of Americana rock and roll. I have this I'm part of a side kind of thing where there's this heavy metal rock opera in Europe called Avantasia, and
Yeah.
I'm a part of it. I'm one of the singers that are part of it. We play a lot of arenas and stadium kind of shows. It's super incredibly popular. This guy Tobias Sammet is the brainchild, and it's people like me, Jeff Tate from Queensryche and Operation Mindcrime, Ronnie Atkins from Pretty Maids, Bob Catley from Magnum, Oliver Hartman, a lot of European um, kind of famous rock guys from the 80s and 90s. Um, and yeah, me and Jeff, a couple of the Americans. But what was I saying about this? Oliver Hartman is a guitar player, and Oliver and I have been writing songs together for, whatever new project I'm supposed to be working on for a long. I've been threatening to do another solo album for like over 10 years. And that's what this is.
Yeah.
More leaning towards acoustic and Americana type of, Petty-esque, Springsteen, Bryan Adamsy kind of style.
Yeah.
But with folk rock kind of thing going on. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, just been writing for a good 7-8 months now.
Yeah.
And what is my legacy? I'm going to work on this thing and then ask me about my legacy later. My legacy. I don't know. I just want to be known as a good guy and a great singer and an even greater father.
That's great. Well, I actually I discovered your music, the Eric Martin Band album, when I was 14, I think.
I'm coming, Elizabeth. All right. 14 years old. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Shit. I used to get like people, I was 8 years old when To Be With You came out. Mom
Yeah.
gave it to me when I was a baby. Anyway, yeah, 14. Yeah, that's cool. So how old are you? Like, are you in your 60s?
I'm 23.
23.
Yeah.
Oh, you rediscovered Eric Martin.
Yeah.
Rediscovered. Okay.
And that actually was, I think it definitely was one of the main albums, because once I discovered it, I immediately found the CD. But it was definitely one of the main albums that like helped me find my own singing voice, because I like singing all that same kind of music too, but my voice is more kind of like Foreigner, or it's my singing voice definitely lower. So, but I love singing that kind of music.
You have a lower speaking voice. Is that the way you? I mean, and so do I sometimes. The older I get, more darker and that kind of thing. But my voice, I'm kind of more of a tenor or a high tenor. But you have you kind of you've been listening to Lou Gramm. That's one of your idols.
Yeah, I can sing a decent amount of Foreigner stuff, and I can sing a lot of Bob Seger and Rod Stewart, and
yeah, cool.
so like that's kind of where I can maintain.
That's great. Where you can maintain. Shit, you can get that kind of style going. I like to hear it sometime.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and it meant a lot too that you would watch my interviews with Desmond and Billy too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah, because I've been a fan of yours for such a long time. So.
Right on. So I bet you had like so many questions you want to ask me, but all you have to do is go tell me about yourself, and I can't shut up. It's like anyway.
Well, it was everything I wanted to ask. Oh, there was my friend wanted me to ask what your connection was with the Bolin brothers.
With Tommy Bolin?
Yeah.
That was I didn't really have a connection. Just to this guy who's a fan club guy, a head of a fan club, Bolin's, thought of me to sing one of his songs. Like and I was a big Tommy Bolin fan. I mean, I was a Deep Purple fan.
Yeah.
When I was 14, 16 years old, whatever, I had the album Come Taste the Band by Deep Purple. And Tommy Bolin was the guitar player. Richie had left and Tommy was the man. And I was like, oh, there was a song on there called Getting Tighter. That was another one of the albums that sort of shaped me into harder rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I liked the songwriting style, and I thought he looked so cool on stage too, you know. But I liked, and then I think he had a song album called Private Eyes, maybe. I think, and then he was really into, like, he had some Asian influence going on. He was really into Japanese artwork, and maybe he had a Japanese girlfriend. I can't remember. Maybe he even had a little Japanese in him, you know. But I was asked to do this, and I jumped at the chance, and I sang one of his songs. I don't even remember if it was on an album or not. Maybe it was just from the Tommy Bolin Band demos or something that he had.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only connection. Just me being a fan, you know.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. This was a lot of fun for me.
Oh, right on.
I'll be sure to.
Swear to God, I got to tell you this right off the bat. I had really trouble sleeping last night. I think I ate too late.
Oh, okay.
So I had kind of like heartburn, and I remember, you know, I thought about the interview, and I go, man, I got to apologize to this guy so many times because I put you off so much. I mean, I've been in the studio a little bit working with my friend Dan Meblin, who's there, on trying to get some recordings, my demos going, you know. At 6 years old, still making demos. And I was, you know, like the COVID situation, I really haven't left. You know, I was playing some shows. I think maybe I played 20 shows in all of these 8 months, which is sucks.
Yeah.
I'm a guy who constantly on the road, and but I'm an accident waiting to happen. I can catch anything from a cold to a fish. You know, I constantly, you know, so I haven't left the freaking house.
Right.
So I'm going nuts, you know, and I'm overeating, and I'm like probably drinking too much and pacing the floor, doing nothing. And I'm having some really hard time sleeping. And plus, all the interviews I've done since January, I've been on the phone. I'm like, do I want to fucking, I've been in my COVID cave all this time, and I haven't played hardly any shows. And do I want to get on camera with this kid with this fucking perfect gel, you know, red and green and yellow kind of gel? Like, even my friend Dan, engineering, goes, you should come to my house and do it. I got better lighting. And I go, no, man, I don't want to think that, I don't want to have the kid think that I'm like Mr. rock and roll professional guy, but you are. Look at me, man. You could show a fucking driving movie on this wall. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. I had a hard time sleeping, and I woke up at 12:52. Right. And then I was like, holy shit. And I lifted up my computer. I'm like, beep, beep, bop, boop, bop, beep, beep, beep. And then there you are. I'm ready to do the Zoom call. Is there any problem? I'm like, holy shit. And that's why I said, give me 10 and 5. And I jumped in the shower, and here I am. So,
yeah. Well, yeah.
So, yeah, I apologize for putting you off all this time. I just didn't want to be on camera. And why do I want to do it now? Because persistent little shit. That's why.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. Oh man. I know I'm now this has been kind of a fun job today. I know I'm going to go, oh man, this is great. I might even go on the porch and see the sun for the first time. No, I'm finally, I'm excited. I'm going to go out of the house. Yeah. But yeah, this has been fun to just chit chat. Call me anytime. Now
Oh.
I'm not afraid anymore.
I'll be sure to
I
send
want to
it.
do a
What?
no, no. I don't want to see myself talk for 2.5 hours. You know, you should have just said like, I have some questions for you.
Mm.
You said, go back to the beginning, and like, oh, you can't shut up. I apologize. Anyway,
No, it's okay.
you don't edit, do you?
Um,
You don't edit anything.
a little bit.
Good, yeah. Edit some like the part where I pick my nose. Well, I may pick my nose, so don't know. I'll be like, I don't know what you're gonna do. I'll be like, I don't know how you're gonna snip something out. I went from SF Bloodshy to Mariya Takeuchi. You know,
Yep.
I went from SF Bloodshy 2018. Big. But yeah, I've enjoyed the conversation with myself. It was nice talking to me.
Yeah.